Empowerment in teaching humanities and social sciences. An empowering education is defined as a student-centred program for multicultural democracy in schools and society.
It approaches individual growth as an active, cooperative and social process because of the self and society cannot be made unless people create it together. The goal of this pedagogy are to relate personal growth to public life by developing strong skills, academic knowledge, habits of inquiry and critical thinking.
A way in which empowering education can achieve this is through the use of empowering practices. Empowering practices connect to students' lives and culture through building relationships based on trust and respect and care, listening to students' voices, promoting social justice through the arts, and engaging youth in participatory action research projects.
What is H&S? The humanities and social sciences have historical and contemporary focus, from personal to global context, and consider challenges for the future. In the West Australian curriculum, the humanities and social sciences learning area comprises of the following 4 subjects: civics and citizenship, economics and business, geography and history.
This can be linked with the following cross-curricular priorities, as they are heavily embedded within these subjects, in which are taught more as a priority than any other learning experience to be ticked off the list. This involves Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander histories and cultures, Australia's engagement with Asia, and sustainability. Humanities and social sciences help students to develop the ability to think critically, make decisions based on evidence, devise proposals for actions, and communicate effectively.
Through the use of Shaw's values of democratic learning, a H&S teacher can successfully engage students in understanding current worldly values.
Shaw's values involve participatory, effective, problem-posing, situated, multicultural, dialogic, desocializing, democratic, researching, interdisciplinary, and active citizenship. Each value creates an empowering education.
The goal of this pedagogy are to relate personal growth to public life by developing strong skills, academic knowledge, habits of inquiry, and critical thinking.
The first of Shaw's values is participatory. Being participatory is an important value of a good humanities and social sciences teacher, as it recognises that students need to be interested and students need to be actively involved within the school environment. Being an effective teacher means to involve students in effective learning, which can be done through the use of the authentic approach to teaching by having an impatient-patient relationship between teacher to student. This means the teacher must lead the class energetically, and the role of the student at this point is to develop thoughts, agendas, and abilities for leading a co-democratic, I have to cut that bit out.
For leading. The teacher offers questions, comments.
Okay. The teacher offers questions, comments, structure, and academic knowledge while waiting for students' criticism and initiatives to co-develop the curriculum.
The second value is problem posing. The responsibility of the problem posing teacher is to diversify subject matter and to use students' thoughts and speech as a base for developing critical understanding of personal experience, unequal condition in society, and existing knowledge. In this democratic pedagogy, the teacher is not filling empty minds with official and unofficial knowledge, but is posing knowledge in any form as a problem for mutual inquiry.
The third value refers to multiculturalism. Students and teachers come from different backgrounds. Therefore, we need to be sensitive to matters of social justice in teaching and learning. Multicultural learning attempts to develop an awareness of cultural diversity in the classroom. Problem-posing education situates itself in the language and experience of the students where their diverse cultures are built into the curriculum. Types of multiculturalism include conservative multiculturalism, which can also be referred to as monoculturalism, liberal culturalism, also known as sameness, pluralist multiculturalism, also known as difference, and critical multiculturalism, sometimes referred to as elimination of human suffering.
The situated value. Situated knowledge connects official curriculum to the students' lives, making it an authentic learning experience. It situates learning in the themes of knowledge, culture, and conditions. Through the use of this pedagogy, situated learning supports all students' learning to increase a feeling of ownership throughout their education and by reducing conditions of exclusion. An example of this is in rural remote schools. Knowledge may be different from inner cities, such as students may come to school hungry.
The next value is dialogic. Shaw defines dialogue as a student-centered, teacher-directed process to develop critical thought and democratic participation. He elaborates on the dialogic method in the following way. Dialogue is simultaneously structured and creative. It is initiated and directed by a critical teacher, but is democratically open to student intervention. Co-developed by the teacher and the students, dialogue is neither a freewheeling conversation nor a teacher-dominated exchange. Balancing the teacher's authority and the teacher's input is the key to making the process both critical and democratic. Democratic. To be democratic implies orientation, subject matter to students by their culture, interests, needs, speech, and perceptions. To be critical in such a democratic curriculum means to examine all subjects and the learning process with systematic depth to connect student individuality to larger historical and social issues, to encourage students to examine how their experience relates to academic knowledge. Teachers can use the following classroom strategies, which include documenting personal experiences, writing narratives or family events such as accidents and stories, sharing other people's stories and experiences, interviewing people, gathering newspaper readings and simulation activities.
Researching. In the case of researching, the investigation process and the skills of critical inquiry and ethical decision-making help students become better informed, active citizens. Progression through the levels of researching demonstrates students' ability to increasingly plan and construct investigations, process and interpret information, and evaluate and apply findings. Shaw explains that to study something in depth is to research. In his view, the critical classroom functions as a research centre.
Interdisciplinary. Interdisciplinary means integrating reading, writing, critical dialogue, and cooperative learning across the curriculum. This can achieve by providing students with a reading, writing, learning approach, where students keep journals, do free writing, revise their work in groups, and write and talk about their learning as a means to grasp the material and express it in their own words.
Active citizenship. The 11th and last value of the democratic education is activism. According to Shaw, critical democratic education invites students to make their education, to examine critically their experience and social conditions, and to consider acting in society from the knowledge they gain. Shaw goes on to say knowledge is not fixed, it is constantly changing.
Teaching is a highly complex profession. Therefore, we need to find ways of thinking about our work intellectually and practicing with others.
Although educators' teaching approaches may vary from empowering to authentic, it is important to remember to connect with students, know their interests, how to accommodate to their diverse needs, and most of all, make learning an opportunity for students to experience excitement, joy, and curiosity as active, involved members of the world.